at what's been going on in the wonderful wide world of Stadia? Yes, of course we will.
The latest news from Stadia.
Duncan can't actually see the VT as we call it in the trade. It's the reason. So the first thing to look at is that Ubisoft's Uno is on Stadia. Of course, it's not Ubisoft's Uno. It's a classic card game. It goes back for I don't know how many decades, nay, centuries. But it is a great game, and it's certainly a big old parlour favourite. And I know that my famille enjoy playing it, but I've heard very good things about this game as a digital representation.
Yeah, I think everybody seems to be enjoying it. It's at a good sort of price point. It's not too far out from people's wallets are. So it's was it £8 and £12. So that's about $15 and $10 for the different editions of it, and everybody seems to be enjoying it. We've seen some of the videos doing the rounds on Twitter about people getting absolutely screwed in the game and multiple things going.
When you say absolutely screwed, as in, toolbox screwed, how do you get screwed playing this?
Multiple pickups. I think we've seen one with about 25 card pickup during it.
Oh, right, okay. So you can literally lose your shirt playing this then?
Yep, you can. It's people they've gone round and round and round, and then they get millions of cards they have to pick up. So yeah, it's actually been fun watching people get destroyed in the game. So yeah.
Wow. I did play a tiny amount of it. I think I've played it in the past anyway. I think it may have appeared on a rival console platform in the past. But I did play a little bit of it last night. It is great fun. And the thing I love about how Ubisoft, when they take any of these classic games, whether it's Monopoly, I think they do what else do they do? A ton of these, don't they? These kind of traditional parlor games, as I like to call them, board games. They try and bring something special to them, don't they? It's never just the card game. There's always a heck of a load of stuff going on in there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's they add wee twists, they add some of the Ubisoft things to it, like some of their characters. So just add bits to it. So yeah, usually these are pretty fun. It's a perfect game for your Stadia library, so you can just sit and play it.
Great stuff. Now we've also another game that's come this week is WWE. What does WWE stand for? 2K Battlegrounds.
World Wrestling Entertainment. I have to remember it used to be WWF until the Wildlife Fund.
The pandas ruined it.
The pandas ruined it, yes. But this, as you know, I try and be down the line. It is getting a bit of a mixed review. I think either some people are absolutely loving it. I know Ray in the chat's absolutely loving it, but other people are saying they've had some issues with it. So it's just maybe one to maybe keep an eye on to see if these issues get ironed out in the fullness of time. But for me, I am going to be picking this up at some stage during the next couple of months, because it's got all the old school characters and things like that, and I really like the look of it. So if they iron out some of the slight performance issues, which seems to be hampering at the moment, I think it's going to be a real good pickup.
Am I right in saying you can overlay your face over your character?
I'm not sure. I haven't really got into that, but I've just seen a load of all the characters you can pick up, or we're calling them characters, so all of the wrestlers you can pick up.
Yeah, the real world stars of wrestling. Yeah.
But yeah, so I am looking forward to picking this up in the next couple of months. I think it's going to go down in price, and that's when I'm going to pick it up when it goes into the sale.
The only reason I asked was that I watched a trailer. It was quite funny. A couple of girls having a lunch break together, and one of them is constantly taking selfies, deservedly so. She's a very attractive young lady, and a friend takes her face and places it within the game and has her face on her character, and they kind of have a match bashing the heck out of each other. So I just wondered whether that was a feature, and if it was, I thought, what an amazing feature. But maybe that was just a bit of advertising license.
Yeah, it might be. So I know Ray's been playing this a lot, so I'm assuming you probably can, because I think he's actually put a picture up.
Has he? Of himself?
Of himself in the game, but I might be wrong in that. I've been sort of trying to take a social media break over the last couple of days, just to
I have
take
no idea why.
no idea why at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to think you could. I mean, it does look fun. You know, look, I've never been into the wrestling, the sport of wrestling, the honourable sport of wrestling, but I know it's huge, and particularly in the States. So yeah, and I love the fact that there's a little bit of kind of inbuilt self humor in this kind of cartoon take on the characters, so they're physically in odd shapes and stuff, and I think that's cool. The old alligator there eating a dude that's been thrown out of the ring. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to watch some of the best. You know, the best way to find out, we need to watch Ray's stream, don't we? Ray does a cracking stream, and I know he's been streaming this, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I watch some of the Gaming Cyborg. It's Ray3473, ladies and gentlemen. You can check him out on YouTube. I would highly recommend watching Ray's streams anyway, because he's a lovely guy and got a great sense of humour. So we'll be doing that later, Duncan, you and I.
Yes, we will.
We will be doing that after we've actually been on the Gamer Man show with Ray this afternoon, which you can also watch if you're not on the podcast. Right, next up on the old news, let's have a look. There was a big old Avengers patch. In fact, there was 1,000. Oh, we don't want to get ready to rumble any more than we already have done. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that. What's going on here? It's all there we go. 1,000 fixes. Wow, what the heck did they release? This is for Marvel Avengers, by the way, if you're listening on podcast.
Yeah, to me, this isn't actually shocking sort of news. What happens in game development is you only have a certain number of testers, and they go and play the games, and they only go into certain spots. When actual more people go out and the game's actually released, you've got them, how many people bought the game, and they're going to find a load of different issues. So just because of the sample size is so much bigger, and people are just out there doing things what the designers would not have actually thought of, making exploits and doing this. So this 1,000 updates or 1,000 bug fixes is not actually that surprising to me, because this is a massive game. A lot of people have been saying, oh, why did they release such a broken game? You can go back. Most games have so many fixes after the first release. So I wouldn't be reading too much into this, but it is actually good that it's actually been out now, and it's actually on Stadia now, and Stadia is getting its own bug fixes as well. What have we got for the Stadia own ones? We've got a couple as well. You can now delete your save file, so if someone else is playing your game, you can go in and delete theirs, and you can start again if you've got a family, because there's no family share on Stadia yet.
Right. Yet.
So so you've got that. You can also add a backup save, and they've also fixed the high resolution display mode, so maybe is playing a wee bit better.
Okay.
And
so that's basically if you play on high res, because you were having a load of issues with this, weren't you, initially, when you were trying to play it on high res. This to me looks like they've identified the issue, Duncan, that you were having when you first started to play the game.
Yeah, I think we've discussed this before. It looks like there was maybe an issue with the actual deluxe edition of the game, where it was maybe item step or something, because there was I actually had to stop playing Avengers for a bit on Stadia, because it was just so there's just so many issues with it. It was just bouncing all over the show.
There was 1,000 apparently.
1,000 yeah, but this is good that they've actually identified it and that it's now fixed. I did actually have a quick go on it yesterday, and it was playing a lot better than it was before. And again, there's a Stadia only one here, which I think a lot of people actually forget about when they're actually thinking about Stadia. Stadia is actually on multiple devices, so they have to take into account. And for this update and the bug fixes on Stadia here, they've actually improved the mouse and keyboard support. I think a lot of people forget about there's mouse and keyboard in this, because a lot of people are just playing up through the Chromecast Ultra, and they forget that every single game on Stadia needs mouse and keyboard support, and it needs controller support. So there's been some improvements there as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. People do forget that it has. They've got a whole bunch of additional issues they've got to think about when they roll out these games to Stadia. Not least of which is the fact that, of course, it's a port in the first place. So it wasn't necessarily originally developed for Stadia. So there's a bunch of little additional headaches in there. Just one question: are you still playing it as much as you were when you were playing the campaign?
I have not as yet. I'm still playing it a bit. I know you're having some issues, we will say, or not issues is maybe the wrong word, concerns about the post-game content.
Yeah, definitely not issues. I think it's an amazing game. I think technically and aesthetically it's absolutely stunning. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what additional features, should I say, that they bring for the next gen round. No, for me it's more about my personal taste in games, and that's not necessarily a bearing on this particular title. I just like a game. For example, I'm playing a game at the moment on PS Now, funnily enough, called Observation, which I did start to play a little while ago, and I didn't get very far into it, but I persevered, and I'm loving it. And the whole game is a story. It's an exploration. You have to figure stuff out to progress. That's just personally the kind of game I love. Whereas with Marvel Avengers, once I got beyond the campaign, which was very good, it was very interesting, and again, if you're into the Marvel universe, it was ticked all your boxes. Once I got beyond that, though, I just found it to be pretty much, here's a mission, go in, do the same stuff that you've pretty much done in the 10 other versions of this mission, get something at the end of it which may or may not have an impact on the future game that you want to play. So that doesn't tick my boxes. That's all. It's nothing wrong with the game, and I certainly wouldn't want to put anybody off buying this game if that's the kind of game that you like.
Yeah, I have enjoyed the game, and we've actually done a Rokk review on it a couple of weeks ago. So it is a good game, and it is going to be constantly updated. We're going to be coming up to the first big update to it, where we're going to get a couple of new characters and a new storyline. So that's when people might actually go back into it again. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on going forward, because this game is just going to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah. Now, in terms of growing and growing and growing, this is a little bit of an unscheduled piece of news. Breaking over the weekend, I'd like to say, but you popped an article up on Cloudy this morning, which is quite exciting. Rogue Company, which is getting a lot of very good press, is possibly coming to Stadia. Expand upon this, young Duncan.
Young Duncans, indeed. We are Rogue Company, one of the vice presidents of High-Res Games, who actually make Rogue Company, has came out and said, basically, I'm just getting the name up here, Trevor Williams went on to a show with, I think we have to give the interviewer the full props here, Octane Pro TV, about Rogue Company coming to next generation consoles. Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying this is not meaning Stadia is a next generation console, because if we actually expand on the full interview, he also brings in Switch into this as well. Okay. Would you count Switch as a next generation console? I wouldn't. So I'm just going to talk about the Rogue Company coming to Stadia. Basically, he said it doesn't matter what hardware on, whether you're on a Chromebook thing through Stadia or through the NVIDIA GPU in the cloud. They are just saying they want Rogue Company to be everywhere, and you can play everywhere with cross-platform and cross-progression and everything, all the crosswords, which is really, really good for Stadia. Yeah. So he name-dropped Stadia and name-dropped playing for your Chromebook. So it is looking very likely that it is going to be coming to Stadia, because Stadia was the first place he mentioned. So you wouldn't randomly just drop Stadia into this sort of conversation if it wasn't coming to Stadia, in my opinion. Also, on top of this, I think it's going to be a free-to-play game. Rephrase that, I'm ahead of myself there. I think this is going to be a pro game because it is going to be a free-to-play game.
Right, okay.
And as we know of some of the free-to-play games, because technically Bomberman's a free-to-play game, and also Destiny 2. You actually have to have a membership to get access to that, a pro membership. And you also, they seem to be rocking away the pro games, or rocking free-to-play games behind pro. On top of this as well, if you want to access Rokk Company today, you can. If you just go to their website, you can actually get a beta key, even though you have to pay for it on the different stores. You can actually get the beta key free on their website, so you can play Rokk Company today on all the platforms. And it is on GeForce Now, so if you want to play it on a cloud platform, you can get the key for the Epic Store, and you can actually play it on GeForce Now today as well for free.
Wow. Well, it would be a massive coup. Well, not a coup, because it would probably coming to us as one of the last platforms, but it would certainly be a massive fillip for us to get it on our platform. And I know, for example, Chase absolutely adores this game and has streamed it several times, and he also mentioned on his show yesterday morning that this is possibly, with a big P, coming to Stadia. But I think the caveat is you're more than optimistic on this, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just the way they're talking there. So, it's we could go on to a big rant here. As Anders says in the chat here, you can pick up the Founders Pack for $25 or £25, even though the game will be free to play. You actually can go to the high res. If you go to roguecompany.com, it says click here to get the beta key, and you actually get the full copy of Rokk Company, and you don't have to pay for it. And you can link it to every single account, and you can get keys for every single account going, including Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and Epic. And if you get the Epic one, you can play it on GeForce Now.
Fantastic. And while we're in speculation, or down speculation alley, as Clive would probably put it, do you want to, we are now, 10 days away from the end of the month, which is still a few days, but we're probably not going to have much opportunity between now and then to do any pro game speculation. Duncan, you given any thoughts to what you feel might be the October pro games?
I'm going to put my neck on the line here, and I'm going to say we're going to get Rokk Company as a pro game. I think we're going to get the announcement probably on Thursday, and I think we're also going to get Death by Chocolate confirmed as a pro game.
Wow.
Now we come into the more difficult sort of questions and what other games could be coming as a pro game. I'm going to say, I'm going to go for Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris.
Oh, good one.
Good one. I'm just going down the list here just to see what else I think it could be. I don't think it's going to be Republic, which also came out this week, because I think that would be too early for that. Ooh, yes, and I will go for Sundered as well.
Okay, right. That's a cracking indie, so it's a good choice, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So so the recap on this is we've got Rokk Company, which I think would be amazing. Lara Croft, the isometric version, not the 3D stuff, because we've already had all of that. And Death by Chocolate, otherwise known as
Death by Daylight.
Indeed. But I do think they should rename it, though.
Yeah. I think we're going to get it as a stealth drop, as in we'll get the announcement on Thursday that it's now available now, and it's now available as a pro game. They're going to just do it as a double whammy, and here's the rest of the pro games because it was due to come out. Hopefully we will find out about the infamous terms crowd play and crowd choice that week as well, because it's Death by Chocolate is meant to be implementing them both into the game, so hopefully that is going to be announced, or we'll get some more news about that.
Amazing stuff. Wow. Dazzadini very pessimistically says there's a lineup of games ready-made for what I've been euphemistically calling Locktober. which I think is pretty much unavoidable globally as we look at the world today. But let's not stroll down pessimism avenue. Instead, Duncan, thank you very much. They were actually, I think, very plausible choices, particularly if Rogue Company is that close. I mean, by definition, you're suggesting that it's been in the can for a while, and they've managed to keep a lid on it, which I think is amazing, really.
Yeah, the reason why I think it's actually close is because of that interview. I think we should maybe drop that interview into the chat there if I can find it here. I will do it now. It's just the first name he came off with was Stadia, so
Okay.
I'm just thinking that it must be close if he's mentioning that first.
Yeah.
And it's in the back of his mind that it's really, really close, and we need to start promoting this here, even though he's not meant to really be promoting it because the cat isn't out from the bag yet.
So I'm presuming that they can get to that link on cloudywithachanceofgames.com as well.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, because obviously for our podcast listeners, they won't have the benefit of chat. So if you pop along to Duncan's Cloud Gaming News website, you should find that article with a link in there. So I think, yeah, it's a fairly strong...
Oh, actually, can I just put one out here? Because it has just been listed on ESRB. Sniper Elite 4 has just been listed, so that might be a shout for a pro game.
So my choice would be probably Sniper Elite 4.
I wonder why you're saying that.
I wanted to just take a little bit of a back seat there, Duncan, while I let you put yourself out in front of the arrows. I genuinely haven't given it a lot of thought, to be honest. It's funny because Duncan said before the show, should we have a stab at the pro games? And I'm like, well, it's 10 days away. Yeah, but if you look at the calendar, we're not going to get another opportunity. I thought, oh, Struth, he's pretty right as well. Because they're almost certainly going to get announced later this week, or at least one or two of them. But yeah, Sniper Elite 4 was raised as a potential. And I do think it was flagged as an October game back at one of the Connects, but I may be wrong. So I think that's a really good shout. I think you could probably replace Sundered with Sniper Elite 4, and you wouldn't be far off there. Remind me again of the stable, the studio that does the Sniper Elite series.
Rebellion,
thank you. So we've had Zombie Army, we've had Strange Brigade, Sniper Elite's the other one of the kind of trilogy of their major IPs, so it makes a heap of sense on historical evidence alone that's a likely forthcoming pro game. Oh wow, I'm really excited for October now, Dunk. Who cares if we're locked away for a week or month?
Yep. And we've got all the big games are starting to come then. We've got what's it called? Watch Dogs Legion is due.
Don't do it to me. Don't do it. That's the one game I've been looking forward to all year.
Yeah, go Brexit.
Go Brexit. Duncan might say that. I couldn't possibly comment. Right, listen, we've had a cracking news section there. Out of what was pretty mediocre, it's turned out to be rather exciting. I think we ought to calm down